Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in. It's a fabulous Friday. Big night tonight in San Francisco. Another do-or-die game for the Grizz against the Warriors. Game 6. Should be a lot of fun. It was a big day yesterday for the University of Memphis. A decision had to be made about whether you renovation with innovation, like my friend Ken Garland likes to say, or will you build a new stadium? And it came down to a total redo, but a renovation of Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. So that means all the bowls, and maybe there'll be high school games there, and everything else will be spruced up. It looks space age. It looks like an NFL stadium. I think there's some areas that kind of remind me of the way Papa John's was used, so they can do other things inside those concourses of the renovated stadium parts. Should be outstanding. Laird Dietz, the athletic director of the U of M, is going to join us here in just a couple of minutes. We'll find out why it was renovation over building a brand new stadium on campus. There was a lot of talk, and I think it came fairly close. It may have come down to money. But, JMO, let's talk about Game 6 very quickly, and we'll be doing a lot of that at the end of the show with Andy Schiffman. We'll talk all the NBA playoffs with him. Jason Munz is going to join us at about 10:25, 10:28, somewhere in there. And we will discuss what's going on with Larry Brown. The Tigers did lose a big man or two last week, and he just did an interesting piece on NIL collectives. And we'll get with him on all of that. So we got a busy show coming your way, but obviously the showdown by the Bay, docks of the Bay in San Francisco. It's Game 6. The Grizz, who took apart the Warriors at home in Game 5. Does that momentum carry over, or San Francisco, Golden State hasn't lost at home in San Francisco in the Chase Center in the playoffs, and Shaquille O'Neal, JMO, said he guaranteed the Warriors would beat the Grizzlies by 30 tonight. I guarantee you that will not be the case. I think it'll be one heck of a game. The question is the new size, and Taylor Jenkins finally utilizing both Jaren Jackson Jr. together with Steven Adams. And let's face it, some of that was taken away from him in Game 1 and 2 because of COVID. Steven Adams couldn't play. But since that time, it has certainly been an advantage. Memphis is so much bigger and better inside than the Warriors. Can Triple J remain dominant? Can that be a key tonight?
Well, I always thought it was Charles Barkley with that guaranteed things on the TNT Inside the NBA show, but I guess Shaquille O'Neal's doing it now too. I do think the Warriors probably win tonight, but I don't think it'll be in blowout fashion. I think it'll certainly be competitive. If you're going to close out a team in the NBA playoffs, that's usually more often than not a competitive game, I would say. And I think the Grizzlies have a lot of pride as well, and they're a good team even without John Morant too, so I don't see a blowout happening, but I do think the Warriors close it out tonight, I'm afraid.
I'm afraid I have that same kind of gut feel. They're not a team that's going to lose by 39 points and not have pride and come back and show the world that they still got it. These are 6-time champions, right? And they've been around for how many championships they've won. They are a veteran team. Draymond Green and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are not going to allow their ball club at home to be pushed around the way they were in Game 5. So I'm with you there. But sometimes you might stumble upon something. And in the Grizzlies' case, it's availability. But Adams and Jaren Jackson coming into his own, that was a big part of the last game. And I'll tell you the other thing, which to me is as critical as Jackson being nominating, and that is Desmond Bane. We mentioned before when the Grizzlies were 20-5, Desmond Bane played Ja-like. And he looked healthy for the first time in this series in Game 5. If Desmond can put up 20 to 30, be critical when it comes to three-point shooting at the end of shot clocks, I think the Grizzlies have a chance to maybe pull off the upset. I don't think it goes their way, but I see this as one that goes down to the wire.
Yeah, it's great to get him going early. You got to get Desmond Bane going early, and he certainly got going early in that game, and that's huge to his success as well. And you mentioned Jaren and Steven Adams combining for almost 10 offensive rebounds, which by themselves is more than the Warriors got in the entire game. And then the Warriors also turning the ball over a lot. So it was just, like you said, dominating performance for the Grizzlies, but those guys getting going is great. I'm afraid that might be the Warriors' Achilles heel, though, is in all of these games against the Grizzlies, they are turning the basketball over. And you can't do that against the Suns, and if the Mavericks somehow pull it off, you can't do it against them either.
No, and that'll be a Game 7, and I suspect that Phoenix at home will win that game as well. But that was stunning. What, they had 22 turnovers in that game?
20.
At one time, it was 20 turnovers to 2.
Incredible.
That was a big part of Game 5.
And 29 points off those turnovers, too, which is incredible.
I can't imagine that Golden State will turn the ball over to that same degree tonight. That would go a long, long way. And I don't know, are we about to witness Jaren Jackson Jr. take that next step to becoming a really solid player on a regular basis on both sides of the floor? Can he put back-to-back games like this together?
That's the key question here is consistency, right? We really talked about it all kind of season is consistency, but, it also just speaks to a tough environment to go into in Golden State and a good defensive team, too. But you would really, some consistency from Jaren, 2 games carrying over like that, would certainly go a long way. Even if they lose this game, that could go a long way to his future development as well.
We will talk a little bit more about this later in the program with Andy Schiffman for sure. We're going to shift a little bit here, and the athletic director for the U of M, Laird Veach, is going to join us. I am in the Family Leisure Studios remotely. I'm actually in Athens, Georgia for the graduation of my nephew. I think this is like the last of this generation, so this may be my last graduation, which, if you've ever been to graduations, they're joyous, so I'm all for that. But, man, they can take a long, long time. When you got a name like Wolotion, too, you're always at the very end, so that is tough. But that's where the Family Leisure Studio is today for me. Athens, Georgia, and a reminder, at the Family Leisure Place in Memphis at I-40 and Whidden Road, it's the Vacation at Home sale going on right now with everything at a fair price. And if you're a good do-it-yourselfer, like $1,000 off a hot tub if you pick it up and take it home and install it. $1,500 if you're really a do-it-yourself guy, and you can do that with your pool. Wow, that is amazing. That is Family Leisure, the stay-at-home vacation sale going on right now at I-40 and Whidden Road. You know our title sponsor for this program? Well, that are the good folks, as always, at Homer. Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, right at the corner of Highway 78, Lamar and Memphis. When you get to State Line Road, it's 78, and the very first exit, the very first one, that is Craft Road. Turn left right there. Go see Chris True and a gang that's been together for about 20, 25 years. They know their product Hyundais. They know how good they are, and they never take advantage of the law of supply and demand. You'll never pay more than sticker price on a brand new car, and they've got them at Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. As promised, the athletic director of the University of Memphis, Laird Veach, joins us now. And Laird, it was stunning yesterday. The price tag, $150 to $200 million for a brand new stadium, and by the architectural drawings that I've seen and the little video that was put together, this thing looks like it's from outer space, and it's NFL ready, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So congratulations on the splash that you made to begin. But let's go back a little bit and figure out why you decided to retrofit the Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium instead of building an on-campus stadium, because there was a lot of hinting that may have been the case. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
You bet. Thanks, Dave, and thanks for having me. It's been a long and very thoughtful process. As I shared with a few others, this thing took a little longer than what I would have wanted. I'm sure others, considering we started it at really late summer last year. And the reason for that is because we went through a very, very detailed process and looked at it from all different angles, both options. The on-campus thing, I understand, and as I dug into it, there were moments when I sort of fell in love with the idea as well. However, in the end, it is a lot of it is about value and about what the true goals and needs of this institution are, and what we want to do moving forward. And the reality is, we can get what we need to get and do what we need to do and be what we want to be by a major renovation to Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. It is, as you saw, it's transformational, and it is not a small task. It's a big number, and really larger than anything we've taken on here in many respects. But we also have a willing partner in the city, and it's going to be an exciting project.
And just so we get a sense of numbers, and I'm only getting this from what I've read, but I know you wanted to do a stadium like Colorado State's, which apparently is beautiful. And that was in the $240 million range a few years ago. That would be over $400 million to do right now. Is that correct? And you would not have the city as a partner like you will in a renovated Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, you got the numbers right. And we went through a professional process to determine that. That's not something that we just came up with on our own. And we looked at a lot of benchmark stadiums. We looked at UAB. We looked at what San Diego State just completed in theirs. We looked at other facilities that have been completed in the last, say, 5 to 10 years. And any of them that are respectable and at a level that we would expect to be. They're north of $200 million. So even if it's a different venue that we chose, you're still going to end up with a similar number. So you look at what we could get at Simmons Bank, Liberty Stadium, and with this renovation, what it would take to get that same kind of quality of a venue, just a mile and a half east there, or whatever that may be, down the road, right next to our campus, and it would be certainly twice that, if not more. So a lot of it is about value and also about time. I mean, we've talked a lot and been very clear that the one of the driving factors here is positioning us for whatever type of opportunities present themselves moving forward from a conference affiliation standpoint, or even from a big picture kind of restructured NCAA, or all the other discussions that are happening at that level at this point. We're clearly headed for a line of demarcation, and ultimately what we need is to look like we belong, and we don't need it to take 6, 8, 10 years. We need it to take 3 or 4, and we need to push forward. Understanding we want to build something that is generational, that it can serve us well and serve our needs at a high level for a long time. So that's why it was really important that we had a vision of this magnitude, that we didn't take it lightly and just take another step. It needs to be the step in the coming decade.
It sure seems to me, and I've been obviously to UCF and that new stadium, which, and I don't mean to diminish it, but it is not what I would consider a showplace place. It's a very functional stadium, and they get a lot of people in there, so that is good for them, and it is an on-campus facility. I just went past the new UAB football stadium, and I'm going to tell you, just from the outside, it does not necessarily blow me away. What I saw from those renderings was amazing, and it's sort of, and I may be wrong because it's hard to tell just from architectural drawings, but it looked to me a little bit like some of the aspects that were used in Papa John's Stadium, which I thought, by the way, and still think is a fabulous football stadium, the one at at Louisville. And in the use of the way they put it together, and behind it, the space, the open space, it looks like that so many things can take place inside that concourse area that you can do even banquets and things of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I thought from the beginning of this process was, that stadium has really good bones. It is just it hasn't had investment in a long time. And you look at even that the architecture of the archways outside and what can be done with that. That's what I've been really impressed with from Populous is they found a way to really use that structure and that architecture and modernize it. In a way that is going to be pretty special and unique. And as you indicated, one of the unique things is that sort of empty no man's land between the outer perimeter and the entrance and the interior perimeter entrance that exists now. I mean, everybody knows who's walked into that stadium that you kind of walk through and go through this no man's land, and then suddenly you're in the stadium. But that's just like a blank canvas that's ready to be utilized and activated, and it's pretty unique to have that kind of footprint available. And it's in a lot of ways that's what new venues are shooting for, right? They want the type of experience that once you enter into the stadium, you have that kind of hospitality, that type of experience, and that type of interaction, not just at your seat, but in other areas in the venue. Professional teams are building that in, right? So we have the opportunity and the footprint to create something that I do think is going to be pretty special in our college athletic space.
I know you can't guarantee this gets you into a Power 5 conference, but it certainly has to help. If you didn't do anything like that, you would think it would be an impediment. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. I wanted to be very, very clear that it is not a guarantee, and it is not as if you build it and they will come. But what it will do is, like you said, if you don't build it, it makes it really, really difficult. and a lot of that is not just having the physical venue and showing that way the way we look. It's also demonstrating to the college football universe that we are highly committed and that we have the resources and the capacity here to compete at a really high level, right? And that's really important, right? That because partners that are other partners that are currently at that level, they do and they have, right? They have those resources and they've committed like that. So we got to show that we belong and we could be a valuable partner in a league like that moving forward.
Let's talk a little bit about the stadium itself. I know it loses capacity, but it's, I think, going to stay over 50, which is helpful, I'm certain, for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl and for Fred Jones' Southern Heritage Classic. I had a texter who texted and asked, would it be soccer-friendly? Could the U of M soccer teams play on that pitch? Would there be an ability for maybe even intimate seating for outdoor concerts? What's the viability of more multi-purposes to this stadium?
Yeah, that is definitely something that's been discussed in this process up till now. And the final details of that are what have to be worked out moving forward, because then you get into, okay, of all the things we want to accomplish within the budget we think is achievable, what are our goals, right? And that is, in the master plan is the ability to expand that field and have additional opportunities like soccer or like concerts, and creating access for concerts to be able to come into there is definitely part of that plan, and that's what we need to move forward to figure out. So those types of things would be possible, and we're hoping we can achieve them as well.
I know you want to do this within a 3-year time frame, have it done by 2025. While it's being built, where do you play football? Can you do it in stages where you still get all your home games in Memphis?
Yeah, you can. And it is, I know that may be kind of hard for folks to imagine. I've actually been a part of a project that was very similar. At Kansas State, we had an entire west side renovation and some other elements of the stadium as well. And essentially what you do is you sort of block off the construction zone and keep people out of it. And then you work around it. You use the other seating, you have other access points, and it's certainly not ideal, and maybe you have 2/3 of the stadium to work with in terms of seating, et cetera. So it may not have the same capacity for a season, but it is manageable, and it's certainly better and more doable than trying to move the whole operation for a season. So It is something that contractors, architects have become pretty adept at managing, that we've already discussed that possibility with both from an advice standpoint, and they feel confident it can be done.
All right. Last thing, and this has to do with your fundraising and all the money. You and I have joked in the past. When you got here, it was unbelievable. Number one recruiting class in the Cotton Bowl. Everything is going hunky-dory. Then COVID, and now portal and NIL and all these different things. And now you're trying to fundraise $200 million at a time where all of a sudden NIL money is becoming more and more important so that players arrive to keep fans interested. How do you do all of this, I guess, is the question, Larry. You couldn't ask for a tougher period of time to divide money for building and still try to figure out how the NIL collectives are going to work for players.
Yeah, Dave, you're not helping me sleep at night by that question. Those are the things that I wake up in the middle of the night, worried about, thinking about. The reality of it is, you're absolutely right. It is a challenging time in college athletics and at Memphis, and a school the size of Memphis. But I don't think we have any choice, given the sort of critical moment in our time, based on what's ahead of us, than going all in and just doing everything we can to ask people to invest at levels they've never invested before, and try to hit all the things we can. And that's going to mean we need people to buy tickets and to donate to the Tiger Scholarship Fund. We are hopeful they will support our student athletes in NIL. And we need people to invest at real high levels in these capital projects. It's just too critical of a time. And while it may sound daunting, I do believe we have the capacity and the passion here to do it. So this is not something that I think is unachievable here. It's going to take us thinking and giving and doing things at a higher level than what we have before. But it is possible. But people are going to have to say yes. We need people to step up and do all they can to help us at this point. If we do it, if we come together and make it happen, then I think it'll pay dividends for decades to come. But it is a critical moment in our time, and I'm looking forward to looking back and saying, yeah, we came together and we did it and we made it happen.
Well, I'm with you. I know the Tiger passion is there. There is going to be some city participation, although Mayor Strickland has said the onus is on you, Laird Beach. But also there should be some onus on the state of Tennessee, which is partnering up for some professional stadiums. You would imagine that since this school is supposed to be in the same league with UK Knox in terms of financial support, that they would be partners in this too.
I think we're gonna. It was funny. I was giving the mayor a hard time. He mentioned that we're gonna have to have the lion's share, and I said there's gonna have to be a lot of lions in this project to help make this thing happen. It's a big one, and there's a lot to feed on. So, we're gonna need everybody to come together in one way, shape, or form. And as the mayor indicated, that's the next step in the process. I do believe that he and folks in the city and our state want to be supportive. But as you know, those politics and that process is complex and dynamic. But this is, in my opinion, and I think if you ask a lot of people in this city, this is a extremely worthy cause that pays dividends beyond just football games, right? I mean, this is about elevating our institution and therefore elevating our city. If you look at it from a big picture standpoint, there is broad implications of what this can mean for everyone here in Memphis.
I'm really excited about it. I'm so glad you've taken this thing on. I think it's going to end up being a real success story in the long run. I know we're ending spring sports, but I got to ask you, do we have a time for the Mississippi State kickoff yet?
I don't know the answer to that question. I don't think we do, since it's at Mississippi State. We may, and I just haven't heard it yet. But I don't think we've heard it at this point. Obviously, that would be determined by the SEC and likely ESPN. But I have not heard their timing yet.
All right. I know it's a big summer fundraising for you. Best of luck. And we appreciate you coming on and explaining this. And if this thing comes out like those architectural drawings, we're going to have the best darn stadium around.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks, Dave. Go Tigers.
Thank you, Larry. We appreciate it. That is Larry Veach, the athletic director of the U of M. He's brought to you in part by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, the tune-up. Oh, you know about the tune-up. All you got to do is call 384-3511. That's the number to make sure your system lasts as long as it's supposed to and that your MLGW bills are reasonable because your system is efficient and your house is cool and you don't have to worry about it. And this spring checkup, this tune-up, it comes with a check of your Freon levels. 384-3511. Get the tune-up. Make sure you're cool this summer with Conway Services. We'll pause for just a second. When we come back, we'll be joined by Jason Munz. What happened to the Tiger big man? Is Larry Brown going to stick around? Jason Munz has some answers in just a minute.
Let former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy take you home every afternoon with Sports Time on Sports 56. Weekdays from 3 to 6 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Want to lose money in real estate? Try selling your own home. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Benstorff Realtors, also known as Mr. Three Putt or the worst golfer in town. I've had numerous clients think they could sell their own home and eventually called me. To me, it's not a for sale by owner, it's a for sale by donor. When we went to the closing table and made more money than they ever thought they could make and not have to worry about letting unqualified strangers into their home, they couldn't have been happier to let someone else handle the transaction from start to finish. So if you want to watch someone play golf poorly, call me. And if you want to sell your home, remember to talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but please include me. I have a highly successful strategic marketing program. And find out why people often say, when you want the job done, call Shell Dunn. That's Shell Dunn Rosengarten, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Thank you.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Hey everybody, our friends at All Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch just announced they have openings for experienced professional sales consultants to come aboard and join the All Star team. You may have heard how great it is to be a part of the All Star Chevrolet sales team in Olive Branch. And you know why? Because All Star Chevrolet is family owned and has been for over 31 years. Sales consultants have the opportunity to earn up to 40% commission selling new and used vehicles and so many other benefits like paid vacations, 401k, health, dental, and vision insurance, and have every Sunday off. Apply in person or send your resume to All-Star Chevrolet at 7240 Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Remember, it's not the Pike, not Southaven, not Mount Moriah, Bartlett, or Collierville. Find new roads to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. And send your resume to All-Star Chevrolet at 7240 Kraft Goodman Road, Olive Branch, Mississippi. Call ahead for an appointment with Kevin Smith if that works for you. 662-895-5536 or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM, your Mid-South sports station.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
The weekend almost upon us. You know what that means. You're going to play some golf. Miramichi is the place you got to play golf with. says if you play the state of Tennessee, you have to check out Miramichi. You know where that is? About 10 minutes, 12 minutes north of downtown in Woodstock. It is this beautiful 330-acre complex of just natural beauty. The back nine, I like to say, is like a walk through the woods with a stream meandering. You got to book your tee times, though, because sometimes it's hard to get in. As Miramichi's become just more and more popular, people understand it's 7,400 yards of championship golf, but there's other tee boxes. And that terrace for the end of the round, that full-service bar overlooking 9 and 18, as good as it gets. I would book a tee time as soon as I could with Miramichi. And then after that round, you might want to check out Poppy's Pills, what the doctor ordered. You know, that's the Pilsner from Grind City Brewing that everybody loves. Best served ice cold. And by the way, they'll do that at Miramichi. But you want it ice cold. It's the Pilsner. It's light. It's refreshing. It's what they call crushable. It is outstanding. Made in Memphis. You will love all the Grind City Brewing products, but you're really going to love what the doctor ordered, the Poppy's Pills. That Pilsner on a hot summer day is just the perfect way to get refreshed. Go check it out. Tell them we sent you. You can get it in 12 packs. You can get it in 6 packs. You can get it in 15 packs. Poppy's Pills. We are joined now by our friend from the Commercial Appeal. That would be Jason Munns. What happened to the big guys? It's been quiet a little bit. I know the big kid Sharp ended up staying at Western Kentucky. No news on Kenny Lofton that I've heard. Jason Munns, you're on top of all this recruiting and transferring. What's going on?
Slick Rick, Wolo. Slick Rick worked his magic, didn't he?
He did.
He did. It was crazy. I honestly believe that that this truly caught Memphis by surprise. I don't think there was any inclination. I don't know if you were following along. Saturday morning, this past Saturday, Adam Zagoria, trusted national college basketball recruiting reporter, had reported that Missouri was all of a sudden the favorite to land Jamarion Sharp, 7'5" guy from Western Kentucky. Well, my sources were telling me that was absolutely not the case. I was actually saw some things, maybe some screenshots of communiques between Sharp's camp and people who were close to the recruitment, and these screenshots seem to indicate that that everything was still looking good for Memphis, and that was Saturday afternoon. And then less than 48 hours later, he announces that he's staying at Western Kentucky. So I feel like this, again, I think this caught Memphis by surprise. I think it caught Missouri by surprise, clearly. I think there were a few schools who thought they were in really, really good position to get Jamarion Sharp, and then either something happened, or much of what was being told to Missouri, much of what was being told to Memphis, much of what was being told to potentially Louisville and Houston, might not have been true. So, it was just kind of it turned out to be a sort of a hoodwink situation.
And I don't really know, but I mean, it could be that the NIL money was secured, and that Sharp ended up with a good deal to stay.
It's entirely possible, because as we've seen that has really become a primary factor in a lot of these college basketball players and college athletes' decision making here of late. That it doesn't really matter where you're going, as long as if the money's right. If the money opportunities are in the right space, then it doesn't really matter where you are. And so, yeah, that's entirely possible. But somewhere in Bowling Green, somewhere in Bowling Green or around Bowling Green, or someone who cares very deeply about Bowling Green, Kentucky, came up with some money.
You did a really interesting story on the NIL collectives, and I want to get into that in a minute. But I do want to first ask you a little bit about Larry Brown. And one of the reasons why I love chatting with you, and I hope that our audience appreciates this, is both of us cover with passion the University of Memphis basketball program. We have different sources, though. So that makes it kind of cool, because you and I can either sometimes collaborate. This is what we're hearing. Sometimes we don't know anything. And
right.
I'll be honest with you, the Larry Brown situation, I am confused. I know he's come back. I think he and Penny have talked. I think he's going to be a part of this in some way. I don't know if it's going to be full time, but I don't really know for sure. What are you hearing on Larry Brown?
Well, since the last time we spoke, I haven't heard anything, honestly, about Larry Brown. But that doesn't stop me from having a take on it. I mean, I feel like here's what we know. We know that Larry Brown's contract expired. It has the 1 year deal that he worked under last year has expired. It expired April 30th. Yep. We know that. You know, I'm not saying for sure that if he wasn't coming back that we'd know, but I feel like my gut tells me that if Larry Brown was not returning in some, or if the ship had sailed on Larry Brown's return, I feel like we'd have heard.
You definitively know it? Yeah.
I feel like we'd have at least a strong indication from somewhere, and we don't. And so, you know, that's not to say that it's a slam dunk, so to speak, that he will be back on the bench or back in the building or whatever in some way, shape, or form. That's not to say that again, I'm not saying that, but I am saying that it, based on what I've been told previously, Larry doesn't want to leave necessarily, and Penny doesn't want Larry to leave necessarily. So, you know, until I hear differently, that's what I have to go by, and so it seems like as we sit here today on Friday the 13th, that things are, you know, the ship hasn't sailed.
All right, that's good enough for me. I read your NIL collective piece with a great deal of interest. It's intriguing to me, and we just had Larry Beach on. In this day and age, how tough it is to be an AD or a fundraiser, because you literally have your coaches in competition with your fundraisers for money. NIL collectives have come in. The state of Tennessee has actually helped NIL collectives. Give me your take on what is going on and where it is going.
Well, I think, you know, the NCAA has come out very recently and said, you know, yes, when the NIL era began last summer, we said we're not going to get super involved. You know, like, we're going to leave it up to the schools, we're going to leave it up to the states, we're going to leave it up to the conferences. We're not going to go and make rules about NIL. Like, we realize the times they are a-changing, and we're gonna stand down and let players make money off their name, you know, benefit off their name, image, and likeness. And then here recently, there have been some, you know, people with deep pockets at various schools around the country who have gotten creative and said, okay, well, if the NCAA is gonna stand down, then we're gonna sort of do our best to find some loopholes. We're gonna pool our money, and we're gonna try and entice the best players to come play for us. And, you know, the NCAA steps up recently and says, well, no, we never said that we weren't going to police the boosters. Like, that rule never changed. Not once did we ever say that it was legal for boosters to induce players to come to the university that they are boosters for. And that has been happening. So, you know, they're coming in and saying they're going to clean it up. I say good luck. I don't know if you're going to be able to do that. But so I reached out to the people with the 901 fund, which is Memphis's collective, and they've been, I think they've been very, very smart with how they set their thing up. They said that we are not going to be. We're going to do everything above board. We're gonna work in concert with the university, with the compliance department at the university, and on top of that, this isn't just going to be a bunch of boosters pooling their money to offer NIL opportunities to University of Memphis student athletes. It's going to be a win-win for a lot of sides, because it's going to be it's going to benefit charities. Like we're gonna offer these people, these players, the opportunity to promote local charities for money, and you're doing a good thing for the charities, and you're helping out the student athletes. I think that's a very, very smart, good thing, and because of that, and also because they strictly only offer these NIL opportunities to current student athletes, enrolled, people who are enrolled in the university. There's nothing, they're on the right side of this, and they're very confident in that, and so, yeah, I don't think they anticipate getting any calls from the NCAA.
Well, what I find intriguing is not so much the NIL collective, the 901, which is doing it in a very intriguing way with the charities. But a guy like John Ruiz, the booster from Miami, is basically saying, hey, the state law in Florida allows me to do this, so what can the NCAA do? I'm offering $50,000 or what did he pay, $600,000 for the kid Robert Pack to transfer from NC State. He'd already admitted he was paying Isaiah Wong, and Wong didn't like his deal. I mean, he's basically saying, I'll pay everybody. I can't remember which school it is, but one school has said anybody who comes to play football gets $50,000 right off the bat. That's our starting salary. And if the state allows that, what do you do?
I know. I mean, if you're the NCAA, you got to try. I think I don't blame them for trying to say, hey, that's always been against our rules. That hasn't changed. We're gonna get involved here. I don't blame them for trying. I just think that as you said, they left it up to the states, and the states allow it, and that's going to be a hard fight to win if you're the NCAA.
He is Jason Munz. Read him every day in the Commercial Appeal. We'll do this again next Friday. Thank you, Jason.
Perfect. Thanks, Wolo.
That is our guy. He's brought to you in part by the Eflin Insurance Group. Matt Eflin's group is so cool. They do it a little different than other insurance groups. They do it with collaboration. Matt's going to sit you down. He's going to get to know you. He'll know your family, what is important to you, what kind of life insurance you might want, what kind of home insurance. He's got access to the perfect thing for you. So once he gets to know you, what your needs are, what your budget is, he fits that with the right program. Same thing with businesses, especially small to mid-sized businesses, gets to know you, what's your focus for your products, how have you planned out your future, what's your growth like, let's insure you that way, what's your budget, I've got the perfect thing for you. All you got to do is meet with Matt, you'll love it. Collaboration when it comes to insurance needs. 757-GER. That's because he loves the Tigers so much. 753, 4777. That's how you get a hold of the Eflin Insurance Group. Let's pause for a second. When we come back to Chicago, we go, and our agent from Priority Sports is Andy Schiffman. We talk everything NFL, including Game 6 with the Grizz and the Warriors tonight. Andy Schiffman is right around the corner.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Brian Elders Roofing Solutions. If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Some people say you get what you pay for. However, our opinion is free. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elder Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repaired roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-867-0303 for Brian Elder Roofing and Contracting.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hey Mid-South, this month buying a car is as easy as one and done. Call in here from DeSoto Auto Sales. Just visit one dealership, put just $1 down, and you're done. You could drive a nicer, newer car today. Even if buying a car has been hard in the past, we've got the one and done solution for every situation. Still owe on your current lease or loan? One and done. Payments too high? One and done. Nervous about past credit mishaps? One and done. Because my For the People credit approval process is the one to get it done. It's that easy. So ditch your old ride and drive a nicer, newer car for just $1 down. Only at my one and done sale. I'm Colin, and I'm your dealer for the people. See all the cars online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. That's DeSotoAutoSales.com.
Credit and $1 down require bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Offer absolutely expires on May 31st, 2022.
Hi, this is Jimmy Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We have been serving up our legendary barbecue for more than 38 years right here in Memphis. Whether you're dining in, picking up in our drive-thru, or serving our famous barbecue at your party, Corky's makes it so easy for you with our party pack starting at only $7.49 per person. And you know you never have to worry about running out of food with Corky's.
Encore flavor, Corky's Barbecue.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We got a Game 6 with the Grizzlies and the Warriors tonight. We see Philly out of there, and boy, Joel Embiid basically came right to the point and said, we got to get tougher, and James Harden is not the James Harden of Houston days. A little surprised at exactly how honest, I guess, and to the point he was. Doncic was brilliant again, and so Dallas and the Suns are going to have a Game 7. These things are always exciting. To Chicago we go, and our agent of guys like Brandon Clark and Xavier Tillman, I believe, all part of the Priority Sports family, with which our friend Andy Schiffman is a big member. Good morning, and tell me how you think Game 6 goes tonight in Golden State.
Well, we talked about it last week, Dave. I always think it's very tough for the Grizzlies, much less any team, to win in Golden State, on the road, in the playoffs. And again, I would love to see the Grizzlies pull it out. I do believe it's going to be a closer contest than what we saw in Game 4. I think it was in Golden State. I'm afraid.
Game 3. Game 3 in Golden State was the one that was a runaway. Game 4, Memphis should have won that game.
That's right.
They led for 47 minutes and 15 seconds.
That's right. So it's going to be tough again. It's tough to beat a team like that with the championship pedigree. Look, you can say what you want about the Grizzlies and their success playing without Ja. I think in the playoffs that only gets you so far, especially on the road. Obviously, the other night it was very encouraging to see them at home, to see them just pick apart Golden State. I think the Warriors pretty much mailed it in towards the end of the third quarter and just rested guys and saved their energy for tonight. So it's going to be tough. But look, the Grizzlies, they've been in this situation before. And their backs are against the wall. They're going to leave it all out there on the floor. I know that much. You need what you got from certain guys like Tyus and Desmond, obviously, Jaren, D'Anthony Melton. You need guys like this to knock down shots early. You saw that last game in Golden State. They had that hot first quarter. You need more of that. You need to lock in defensively. You're absolutely going to have to crash the boards and try and out-rebound them as best as you can. Memphis has been a really good rebounding team all season, but they need perimeter productivity across the board. It cannot just be Desmond Bane or it cannot just be Jaren. You're going to have to get productivity from your bench. Hopefully my guy Brandon's going to go out there and rebound and defend and do what he can do. So they need productivity across the board because they don't have one guy carrying them. Golden State, they can have one guy carrying them. It could be either a Clay or even Wiggins or Steph stepping up on any given night.
Why do you think Memphis has done so well without Ja? 20-5 in the regular season, now 1-1 in this series, but it really could be 2-0. It's odd to me because there's no question you want Ja Morant, but what is it that they play so well without him there?
I really can't quantify it specifically. I think it's a combination of a lot of different factors, Dave. I think they're very, very well coached. They're very sound defensively. And just the whole morale and collaboration of the roster from top to bottom. Guys like playing with Ja. I was talking about this with a player I represent on Philadelphia actually just this morning, and we were talking about what it's like playing with a guy like Harden and obviously what transpired last night. And I use Memphis as an example of a team that has its leader and best player as someone that galvanizes the rest of the roster, and that's rare. And I think when you have that, other players on the roster really want to step up when someone like Ja is down and sidelined, and you're almost playing up to that level of competition because everyone is expecting you to just crumble without your star player, and it just gets you that much more motivated, and Ja is obviously supporting everyone. And you don't really see that in a lot of other teams with superstars. These superstars kind of tend to alienate themselves from other guys, from other role players on the roster, and that's just not the case in Memphis we've seen all year. So I just think it's a combination of a lot of little things. There's not really one thing that I can pinpoint. It's not like, oh, well, now there's so many more shots and that's more opportunity for Desmond to go out there and knock down X number of more threes or Jaren. Yeah, I mean, look, that's part of it, but I just think everyone comes together because it starts with Taylor and starts with how they're coached.
Since you mentioned your conversation with your player in Philly, were you surprised at Joel Embiid's openness yesterday about the lack of toughness on the team and he said it specifically, James Harden is not the James Harden we knew at Houston. He just doesn't have it in him anymore. I was taken aback.
Well, look, I don't know James personally. I've had a lot of players play with him. I don't really think there's much of a difference. I'm not surprised at Joel's comments. He's always been very open and transparent with the media. But you haven't really watched James Harden in his career climb the mountaintop and get to the pinnacle of NBA basketball. He, to win, in my opinion, is always going to need another superstar to help lead the ship and win. And he went to Philadelphia understanding that it's Embiid's team, and he saw that. And without Joel, he cannot carry a very talented Sixer team to win. He did not do it in OKC. Granted, he had Durant and Russell Westbrook. He did not do it in Houston. He did not do it in Brooklyn. He's a very, very talented player. But again, just comparing what I just talked about with Ja, there are those superstars that know how to lead a team and win, and not taking anything away from James's talent. I don't think he has that component to his game, that intangible leadership quality. And I've never seen that. I think he's one of the most talented players in the NBA, but I don't really look at his performance in Philly and say he didn't have what he had in Houston. I think talent-wise, I mean, look, he a little bit gave up last night. He only took 9 shots. He really just didn't really give the team much towards the end of the game. But generally speaking, he's the same James Harden he's always been. He's going to go out there. He's going to create shots. He's going to score at a very high level. But again, everything else that goes into being an NBA superstar and a leader, I don't know if he really cares that much, to be honest.
Interesting. Interesting. Real quick, in about 60 seconds or less, we've seen a lot of road wins in this Milwaukee-Boston series. Do the defending champs close it out tonight at home?
I think Boston could win this one. They another team that has their backs against the wall. They're very good. They're very talented. I think Milwaukee's going to win, but I wouldn't be shocked to see it go to overtime. I wouldn't be shocked if it's going to be a 2 or 3 point margin, and I would not be shocked if Boston ends up winning.
My friend, as always, I appreciate it. We'll talk next Friday. We'll have conference finals in mind by then. We'll see if Memphis can make it happen with a win tonight. Thank you, Andy.
And NBA Combine next week, too, here, so an exciting next week.
Oh, we got lots to talk about then for sure next week.
Right.
That is Andy Schiffman. He is brought to you by the Spirit Shop. Yeah, you want to get ready for the game tonight. It's late night. Head Poplar and St. Nick, 4848 Poplar, that little log cabin. You've seen it a million times as you're traveling past Clark Tower, and then you go, wow, look at that little place. You go inside, it's not so little. That place is full of everything you could possibly need to raise your spirits for the weekend. They've got everything, all the fantastic, valuable wines and the up-and-comers. Same thing with bourbons or tequila or vodka or gin. They've got bargains. They've got rare things as well. Everything. They've even got a rub for your rim of your glass if you need it. When it comes to spirits, all the local IPAs, everything is there at the Spirit Shop. Just go in, talk to Eddie Connor. He loves talking spirits. You get an education and great prices and service on all the products. The Spirit Shop at Poplar and St. Nick. That'll do it for me, Johnny Radio, right around the corner. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you again on Monday.
I know the sweetest